Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Reboot It. You could hear me take that breath at the beginning. Good thing I don't edit. And hopefully I won't have to pee anytime soon either. So tonight we're joined by...
Me.
Okay. Who and you are?
Matt Perry.
We're joined by Matt Perry. This is episode 77, recording on July 26, 2017. So we're going to read you some things like DEF CON, which starts tomorrow. So if you're going to go to some of these upcoming conferences, you better start planning like now. Matt, how you doing?
Well, okay, first let me clarify that when I say Matt Perry, it's not the one from Friends.
Well, you know, there's also Dave Ramsey, the CEO of CAMC in Charleston, West Virginia, just laid off hundreds of people.
I saw that.
And the other Dave Ramsey in Tennessee would not be happy with that because apparently he's not living within his means.
Yeah, well, I saw that just a few minutes ago, and it confuses me how CAMC could be laying off 300 people when you try to go up there and get the emergency room, and they tell that you can get the emergency room and you can't get a bed in the hospital because they tell you the hospital is full.
Yep, I agree.
We had a lady in our office not a month ago had a heart attack in the office.
It was just in a heart attack. It wasn't anything, you know.
Took her via ambulance to the hospital, and they said that Charleston Memorial, which is where you go when you have a heart attack, was closed to new patients, and they had to take her to Thomas instead, and so she got to have her heart attack there instead of at the cardiac care center.
Problem.
So how could they be laying off people? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I think that there's a statement released by the CEO that said that they're under pressure because of Medicaid, the reduction of Medicaid reimbursements, and there are so many people in West Virginia on Medicaid that it just didn't make sense to. Apparently, they've been showing losses again and again and again. So, I don't know. I'm sure this impending repeal and replace Obamacare is also stressing them out, and this may also be possibly partially a political move to put pressure on the West Virginia congressional delegation to not repeal and replace.
Could be. I didn't follow the voting too hard today, but the couple of things I did see on Twitter said that they had that both of the things that came up today were defeated. So,
well, I mean, they voted to have a debate.
Right.
First repeal and replace that was put on the floor failed. Now what they'll do is there'll be amendments to amendments and motions to reconsider and
I
all
don't
that kind of thing going on.
I don't think anything meaningful is going to happen because the AARP is too powerful.
Well, we'll see.
And they don't want it to be repealed. And if they don't want it to be repealed, it's not going to get repealed.
Yeah. Welcome to Inside Politics. Maybe I should be like the McElroy brothers and just do a whole bunch of podcasts.
Yeah, that could be.
But I don't know. And probably in some ways, I'm probably know more about things like this than what's going on in security sometimes, especially in the summertime. I'm just a little out of touch because I'm doing other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not at DEF CON, not at Black Hat. Students are at Black Hat. Look like they're having a good time. And send me Snapchats every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm not either.
So I don't know. Maybe next year. Just a
Yeah.
lot of walking. DEF CON 25, Caesars, Las Vegas, Nevada, July 27th and 30th. www.wetdefcon.com. That means it starts tomorrow, folks. So if you're going to go, you better, and you don't have tickets or a room, I guess you'll be staying at Circus. B-Sides Asheville, July 28th through the 29th, Asheville, North Carolina, bsidesasheville.com. Wonderful conference in Nashville. Asheville is a food mecca if you're a foodie. Wonderful restaurants in Asheville. You could just go there and eat for like 2 weeks.
Did you speak at that last time or time before last?
I haven't been there for the last year or so. Maybe been the last 2 years because it just hasn't worked out. This week I was actually busy. I did an InfraGard event, and on Tuesday, and then I just didn't Then put it into plans. I mean, DerbyCon's probably the only thing I'm going to go to. DerbyCon 7 Legacy training is September 21st. Conference is 22nd to the 24th. It's sold out, but they keep releasing tickets in small batches. It's Hyatt Regency in Louisville, Kentucky. Matt is speaking, and I just got my notification out of the spam box that I'm speaking as well. Now I have to remember what I submitted.
How many talks did you? How many?
I only
talks
sent one
did you-
talk.
Oh, you only sent one. Yeah, okay, you only sent one. Okay.
So I think I know what it is, but
Not like
be nice
last
to
year.
have all that because I wrote all the things I was going to talk about.
It would be nice to have.
Well, I guess they'll publish it to the website. I'll do it the day before, like all my talks. They're just fresher like that, right?
Well, and then that way you can look at the outline that you submitted and they publish in the thing, and you can just talk from that.
No, that's what I'm going to have to do. So I guess you're riding down with me?
I don't know. When are you? What day are you going down?
I'll be going down on Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Why are you
Well, it
going
starts on Friday.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
Thursday.
Okay.
It starts on Friday. I'll go on
Yeah.
I'll go on Thursday.
Yeah, I think I'm going. I think my room is from Thursday to Sunday. So yeah,
Yeah,
we
okay.
go on Thursday.
Awesome.
Yeah, I will probably ride with you.
It's pretty much tradition at this point.
It has become tradition.
I don't think I've ever. One year Blair went, and I think we went separately.
Yeah, I rode with John Moore that year.
And I don't think we can get Blair a ticket this year. We'll just have to see.
I don't think we can either. I think you're just
Well,
going
she
to
can put her in the back seat, right?
You're just going to have to hook up after you get there instead of taking her with you.
Have burner wife? Is that what it is? Everyone's taking burner phones to Vegas. Take a burner wife with you.
Hey, it's an option.
Yeah, my age, I just would rather have a good sandwich.
I am not that far behind you.
B-Sides DC, October 6th through the 8th. The Renaissance.
I submitted a talk to that, and haven't heard anything back from them.
It's one of the biggest B-Sides events in the world.
My buddy Derek Rahilio was on the selection committee for the talk thing, and then he had to work out of town last year and didn't get to go to it, and they voted him off the island.
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. But so I suspect that since I made a joke about him in my talk submission, that I probably won't get picked.
I don't know anyone, Mark Bolts Robinson, who is a frequent contributor to the podcast, is one of the founders.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if I even know anyone who's on the board or anything at this point, and I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, well, Derek was the only one I knew, so since he's out, I'm probably out as well.
Besides DC.org, you never know. I mean, look how late we're at the end of July, and we're just now getting DerbyCon acceptance.
True.
That's just the way it goes with InfoSec stuff. Anyway, Skydog Con, October 20th to the 22nd. Embassy Suites, Nashville, South Cool Springs, Franklin, Tennessee.
I'd like to go to that.
Skydogcon.com. I wouldn't mind going to that.
Have you ever been to that?
I've never been. I tell Skydog every year. I said, you come to you come to HackerCon,
Right.
and I'll come to Skydog. And he's like, I'm going to make it this year, and he doesn't make it. And I say, I'm going to make it this year, and I never make it. It's about a 6-hour drive from here. It's not bad.
It's longer than that.
Isn't longer than that?
Yeah.
It should be about the same as it is to Indy.
No, it's about 8 because I've driven to Memphis before.
Jesus.
I've driven to Memphis before, and it's 12 to Memphis.
I don't know. I have to look at that. Anyway, it's a long drive. We drove last week. We were in West Lafayette, Indiana, at Purdue. That was not a short drive, but I had good company, so it went fast. GERCon, October 26th, 22nd. I'm sorry, 26th and 27th. Grand Rapids, Michigan. CFP is open. O'Reilly Security Conference, Building Better Defenses, October 29th to the 30th. Tutorials and conferences 30th through November 1st, New York, New York. The website is conferences.o'reilly.com/security/SEC-NY. Could they have a longer URL?
Is it not to be confused with the auto parts store? I guess it's not the same.
O'Reilly's Auto Parts.
Yeah, that one.
Well, I used to own a lot of O'Reilly books, and the only O'Reilly book I own now is the one that Amanda wrote, the Defensive Security Handbook.
Yeah.
I want to use that in class eventually. Can adopt it this year fast enough, but I think I'm already going to start using it as a reference.
That's
Besides, go ahead.
I said that's good.
It's hard to adopt text. It takes there's such a lead time.
But bunch of people have to look at it and read it and stuff, or what?
Well, you have to send it to the freaking bookstore before spring break and the spring semester to get it adopted by fall. Oh. And that's just the whole bookstore paradigm that I'm not a big fan of. But you also want to make it so that kids can use, or students can use, not all of our kids are students. I mean, not all of our students are kids. Some of them are my age or older. So our students can actually use their financial aid in order to buy the books. We have to make sure they're in the bookstore.
Yeah, I got you.
Or we would just have everyone buy them from Amazon.
From Amazon,
yeah. And actually at Purdue, they have an Amazon, secure drop station, like an Amazon store.
So is that like a big circle painted out in the parking lot where the drones just drop bombs?
No, it's actually like a big room. It's kind of like a post office, except it's for Amazon. So they ship your stuff there, and you go pick it up, which is cool, I guess, especially on a college campus, which is a little bit, it can be a little bit convoluted to get mail. I mean, if I have something sent to my campus, it can take a week or two for me to get to my office.
Really?
That's the reason I have things sent to my office generally. Besides Raleigh, October 28th, Wells Fargo IMAX Theater, Raleigh, North Carolina. CFP is open. Besides Raleigh.ninja. Besides Charleston, South Carolina, go now before it's underwater. Apparently there was a projection that Charleston, South Carolina would be underwater within 80 years.
I'll be dead with that.
That's what I said. BesidesCharleston.com, great conference 2 years ago. I was a keynote there. One of the keynotes, me and Kevin Johnson. Secure WV HackerCon, Secure WV 3, HackerCon 8, the Ocho. November 17th through the 19th in South Charleston, West Virginia. CFP is open. We're still looking for sponsors. We did announce our keynote. Our keynote is Ira Winkler. Ira will actually be speaking twice. He'll be speaking during Secure WV and during HackerCon.
Yep. Buy your tickets now. You never know. We could sell out like DerbyCon did.
Well, you never know. And if you buy them now, you have them. Also with the room too, room blocks.
Yep.
So what's going on with you? You said that you had a story that you wanted to tell this week.
Well, I hired a friend of mine who you may know because it's you to do a penetration test for me at the office.
Yeah. And all the full disclosure, this is the client telling this story. It's not me. I do things I can't talk about, but if the client wants to come talk about it, that's their prerogative.
Well, we won't talk about all of the pen tests, but we will talk about the day 2 of the physical assessment.
Well, we should talk about all the physical assessment to sort of put it in.
That's true.
And
so we'd never done I'd never done a physical assessment here, so. There was some debate amongst the people of the office as to whether, during the day. Now we're not talking about breaking in the night. We're talking about just walk-in traffic during the day. And there was some debate about whether people could freely wander around the office and do nefarious things. So we decided we would test that. And episode 1. And this is an I think this is. I almost brought this up in your introvert thing the other day, but I think it's an interesting study course, very limited because we've only done 2 tests, but it's an interesting study in gender bias.
Well, I think that Nick
in-
probably would be interested in this, and he could probably has more details on how this plays out.
Sure, exactly. But yeah, so it's an interesting study in gender bias in social engineering penetration testing. So the first day, Bill brought down one of his students, a very, very well dressed, nice looking young man, looked very professional, decent looking fella. And so his mission was to see if he could get anybody in the office to let him sit down at their computer and do anything, and to see if he could plug a bugging device into someplace potentially in their office. And his pretext was that he was here to work on the copier. And that was all he was instructed to say, and that's all he did say. He didn't say what copier company he was from. He didn't say, he didn't even know where the copiers were. And what's interesting about this study, and what I was bringing up about gender bias, is that there were a couple of ladies in the office that were just more than happy to help him and walk around with him and show him where the copiers were and talk to him about their problems, and let him plug in his stuff and charge his. I don't think anybody actually let him sit down and use their computer, but he did pretty much have the run of the office. So that was day 1 of the penetration testing. Now, day 2 of the penetration testing, though, was a bit more invasive. So Bill brings down a lovely young lady, very, very nicely dressed, looks very professional, rather attractive, if I say so myself. And her mission was to get somebody to plug in a USB drive into their computer. And her pretext was one straight from Chris Agnetti's talks at DerbyCon. And it was that she was coming to the office to drop off her resume. And on the way to the office, she swerved to miss a cat in the road and spilled her coffee on her resume. But she had a copy of it on this thumb drive. Could they please put it into their computer and print off a copy for them? So, we were running this test in a couple phases because of the way the office is spread out. She was unsuccessful in the first 2 because she encountered other ladies in the office, and they were, for some reason, they were instantly suspicious. They were very polite and nice to her. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, and they called me to see if they were allowed to do that, and they both passed the flying colors. Then she runs into this guy on the elevator that works here, and he asked her how she's doing, and she immediately gives him the sob story, and he falls for it.
Did you say what the story was? I was peeing. I just got.
Yeah, I'll say what the story was.
Okay.
He falls for the story, hook, line, and sinker. And so not only does he just takes her right back to his office, sits down, takes the USB drive from her, and then what's ridiculously funny about this, the first thing, is that he takes the thumb drive from her, and he looks at her and he goes, "Now there's not a virus on this, is there?" And she, of course, says no. And then he says, "Okay, I'm going to help you out and print this resume, but if you get hired here, you can't tell our computer guy that I did this because he'll get mad at me and throw me out the window." And so she starts giggling and says, okay, no problem. So he sticks the thumb drive in his computer, prints her off a couple copies of her resume, walks her to the printer, and then escorts her back to the elevator and keeps the thumb drive. That's the other thing.
I need my thumb drive back.
He keeps the thumb drive plugged in his computer. So she comes back down to my office where me and Bill are waiting. And here. I don't think anybody's here to answer, do they? Oh, there. So she comes back down here to my office where me and Bill are waiting, and she tells us the story, and we're laughing like crazy about it. So I say, okay, be quiet. And so I call this guy on the phone and put it on speakerphone. And I go, so I'm going to throw you out the window. And he goes, oh no.
Yeah, he was very apologetic.
And he just absolutely freaks out. He's like, oh no. What did I do? I'm so sorry, man. I didn't mean any disrespect to you. And he just keeps going on and on and on and on. I'm like, Roger, I was like, that was a story. The whole thing was a story. I made that whole story up. Quit apologizing. And he's like, oh, no, I'm sorry. It was just so funny.
Yeah, we had video of the first engagement. The second engagement, the cameras fell. We had a button cam, and then we had a watch camera.
Yeah.
And the second time around, I didn't initialize them correctly. I'm sure it was my fault. The other thing is that I've noticed that the directions that come, because these come from China, are not correct.
Well,
so if you follow the directions, it doesn't work. And,
yeah, I'm sorry that we didn't have video of that one because it would have been hysterical. Even if we just had audio of that one, it would have been hysterical. But anyway, so we've got a few more steps of the pen test left to do, and then I'll be doing a big presentation to the whole staff. And I'll get to embarrass this guy in front of everybody. It'll be fun.
Well, this begs the question: if your best lawyer fails a social engineering test, do you fire them?
Yeah, that's a good question, and the answer is, of course, no. You educate them not to do that anymore.
Right.
I'm not going to fire anybody for failing one of my social engineering tests. And what's interesting was today, just as a result of everybody in the office being hyper vigilant, because they all knew I was doing this. Yeah. And they've all kind of heard the story. So some poor guy comes to fix a fax machine today.
Did he get the 10th degree?
He even had on the correct shirt. He had on the shirt from the company that does our fax machine maintenance. And man, everybody that walked past him questioning, "What are you doing? Why are you here? Who called you?"
Yeah. Well, poor guy. That's you'd rather they didn't do that than just let people wander through your network.
Well, exactly. And I'm exaggerating a little bit. And nobody was rude to him.
Yeah, but still. Yeah.
But he did have to explain himself 2 or 3 times, and I'm okay with that because nobody needs to be up there poking around on my stuff without me knowing.
Right.
So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I didn't get to do it because everyone in your network knows me. Mm. Well, most people do, but
you couldn't successfully get in because if they saw you upstairs, they'd think that you were here about a case from whoever ran over you and why you're walking that way.
Well, that's true because I've got bad knees.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, it was a lot of fun, and there's not a lot of tests to get to do the social engineering physical part of it. Mm-hmm. There's sometimes you get to walk through and do a physical assessment of locks, cameras, doors, etc. But you don't actually get to test the controls that have been set. Right. Because people know. Well, I mean, social engineering is always probably going to succeed depending on how good the social engineer, how good the pretext was. We used a really silly pretext. Really simple pretext.
Well, I didn't think it was silly at all.
It was simple. I mean, I should say simple. I mean, it was it was so simple it was silly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like we spent a lot of time particularly targeting individuals.
No, it was not a spear phishing campaign. It was just a general splatter it against the wall and see what sticks.
And it stuck.
and it's
Both
stuck
times.
both times. Yep, that is correct.
So what fun.
It was good. It was a good test. And what's really going to be interesting is next summer. Number one, we'll have to come up with a much more inventive or at least different pretext. But I want to repeat these two tests again next summer.
We can do it in the fall. No, we could actually do it we could actually do it sooner than that, as long as it was during a break in school.
Yeah, yeah, maybe
But
we could
anyway,
do Christmas.
whatever you want to do, we'll have to find somebody else to do it.
Right. Yeah, we can't use the
But
same people. And maybe we could do it over Christmas break. That would be kind
yeah,
of
that's what I was thinking too. Yep. So much fun. What's
yeah,
fun?
that would be kind of interesting. It would be. The other thing is I'm getting ready to get some new equipment, so we'll have to repeat the whole thing again
Right.
after I get the new equipment. So that'll be good. That'll be good.
So my custom shirts got here today.
I saw that. I was going to
Tony the
make.
Tailor, Tony Peranzino in Charleston, West Virginia. Mastum he's a master tailor. Custom shirts for less than you can buy them online. Has
And
my name all over them.
And potentially the next mayor of Charleston.
Well, we talked about that when he came down. I mean, Tony's the kind of guy. If you want something, he'll show up at your office, do your measurements. They delivered them here. He delivered it here as a runner. He has a local guy that runs clothes down in Huntington for him. And I know that this is not paid advertising. B, it's just because I've known who he was for years, and always never took the plunge. But for as much as I paid for shirts off the internet,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now if you're doing bespoke or like he does bespoke suits, which means they're made just for you. In the case of custom, what they do is they use an existing pattern and then they change it for you.
Mm-hmm.
The details are just incredible, and for what I paid, which was very affordable, I could not got a better deal. And these are special. This has got my monogram. It has my name on the tail in the front, which is kind of funny to me. I guess if you're really drunk, you don't remember who you are. And then I saw earlier, I can't find it now, like where the instructions on how to wash the shirt, it actually has my name and the type of shirt and all that sort of stuff. So I was really impressed. You all know I'm kind of a clothes horse anyway. But if you can, find your local master tailor, and because it's worth the money. I mean, they have there's those companies out there where you take pictures of yourself and they make a suit for you. I just don't know. This sounds like it would be a cluster.
I'm just too much of a slob for that. I just don't dress very well. I'm more of a khakis polo guy.
Yeah, I can be too, especially in the summertime. So anyway, we only have a couple stories this week because I knew Matt wanted to tell the funny story about his social engineering engagement. But this is an interesting story, Matt. Did you see this? Snopes says it needs $500,000 to stay in business.
I did see that, and why do they need that much?
Well, according to the story, it's Snopes has started a GoFundMe campaign. Snopes.com, one of the internet's first and most famous fact-checking websites, said Monday that a previous web hosting vendor continues to hold the Snopes.com website hostage, and the site is in danger of shutting down if it doesn't raise $500,000.
So somebody's holding them hostage, huh?
There's a legal dispute between the people who control the domain and the people who own the domain.
Well, you would think.
And there have been complaints and cross complaints filed.
Okay, so they don't want to wait until the court. They don't want to wait until the court rules, huh?
Well, apparently they can't. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make sense. In some ways, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, it didn't make sense to me either. I mean, because you would think that a well-known brand like that, because I mean, it's just like if somebody at IBM screwed up and you and I went out and bought IBM.com, that wouldn't hold up in court because they wouldn't let us hold them hostage because it's a trademark name. It's branded. I mean, maybe Snopes didn't trademark their stuff, but still it's branded. I mean,
Well, I mean, I
I
understand what you're saying, and I just did who is, and this is weird. Then an NS lookup instead of a who is. Let's see if we can't pull. Registered contact, Net Solutions. It's all hidden, so I can't tell who actually owns it. Sunrise, Net Solutions. Did I not spell it right? SNOPES.com. This who is doesn't show me a lot. I may have screwed it up somehow. But you're right, and I guess the only thing that they can slug it out in court, and they probably have a good case. But this isn't the first time that Snopes has asked for money, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
But I mean, in this case, we're now in we're sort of in a society. We're in a cycle in our culture where we don't know what is true and what's not true, and even if Snopes has its issues. A lot of people still refer to Snopes to see if things are correct or not, right? Or still look at Snopes to see if they're true, and they've been around since the 1990s.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you see those goofy stories on Facebook, and you want to know whether it's true or not. That's a great place to go. Just like the one that was circulated here this week about Kings Island was going to build an amusement park in Beckley, West Virginia. And you referred to that in your talk on Tuesday. And what's funny was that my wife, she didn't click on the link or do anything, but she had read that story and thought that it was true.
Yeah, I mean, especially, when you're doing that sort of thing, the question becomes, why do people spread false information? We sort of saw why, especially in this election. But it was in a malware campaign. That's the thing that sort of I wondered about. I opened it up in a VM and I didn't see anything weird. But I really didn't spend a lot of time with it either. But that they're playing on people's hopes that perhaps we can get some jobs in West Virginia.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a Chamber of Commerce Economic Development event today attended by both university presidents, Dr. Gordon Gee, West Virginia University, and Dr. Jerome Gilbert, or Jerry, as he likes to be called, at Marshall University. And apparently one of the big issues that they discussed was cybersecurity.
Really?
And how it could become an industry in West Virginia. Right now, I teach in the Digital Forensics and Information Assurance program at Marshall. 90% of our graduates are going out of state because there's not jobs here for them.
Well, exactly, and it's just like the young lady that I was just telling the story about that did that penetration test. She's a graduate of yours, right?
Well, she's a graduate of the graduate program. She can't
find a job here.
She's got the graduate certificate in digital forensics, and she can't find a job. Part of that too is she has a husband here.
Well, right. I mean, but the point is she can't find a job here. I mean, they're going to have to move for her to get a job in her field.
And she did a really good, prestigious internship in Washington, D.C., and she's got pedigree. So, it's, and then the flip side of that is we keep hearing about, oh, man, there's all these cyber jobs out there that need to be filled. We just can't find enough people. Yeah, and yet I see people like her who have the skills, but they're not being hired.
Well, you and I, we have a mutual friend that lives in Hagerstown, Maryland, that has been looking for a job for a long time.
Yeah, he finally has a temporary job. Right. It's been over a year.
But yeah, he's been looking for a job forever, and I don't know how qualified he is, but he's just as qualified as anybody else.
Yeah, it was a technical writer, But yeah, I mean, it's not like he wasn't like Q&A for one of the uh, largest vendors of security software out there in the
Right,
country.
right. And now he's a CISSP, so I mean, he obviously knows something about something.
Right. Yeah.
So,
So I don't know. I mean, I call bullshit, and then again, I say, let me preview my DerbyCon talk a little bit. My DerbyCon talk is going to be about filling the cyber skills gap. I don't think that education as it exists now, or any of the different attempts, including NICE, NICE, and NSA, CAE, does anything to actually fix the cyber skills gap. Because instead of teaching people how to do something hands-on, it's more of training than it is education.
mhm.
So people get trained about how networks work, and they get trained about how servers work, but there's no education component that helps them put it all together. And if these other initiatives have done such a good job, why the hell haven't we filled the cyber skills gap?
Yeah, you're right. And part of it is the industry really growing as fast as everybody says that it is?
I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that. And then the other part of it is, just like you alluded to in your talk, are there still a bunch of guys out there doing pen tests that all they're doing is running the scan and giving you the report of the scan, and that's that?
Well, I mean, we've got major corporations that run Nessus scans and call it a pen test. One of the things we talked about at Purdue was that someone's talking about penetration testing from the Purdue faculty, and they don't do that anymore. And like, I do it all the time, but I also understand what a pen test is. So at the InfraGard event, we actually cover P-test standard, which says what a pen test is and what it isn't, so that people understand who are buying pen tests as well as people who are selling pen tests actually understand what a pen test is. But we have a bigger problem. We have a bigger problem in that I was invited to an event where they wanted to find what cybersecurity is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is like an ISO standard, a IEEE standard for what cybersecurity is and information assurance, but that's not what we use. And basically, we now say cybersecurity is freaking everything.
Right.
Electric grid cybersecurity, infrastructure cybersecurity, Facebook cybersecurity, and we call everything cyber. And my world war gets cyber, which I've finally given up, because when in Rome, especially when you're dealing with academia and government, that's what they call it.
Yep. If you're dealing with the feds, that's what they call it.
So the second kind of interesting story is Roomba's next big step is selling maps of your home to the highest bidder. Did you see this story?
I did not.
So the Roomba is generally regarded as a cute little robot friend that no one but dogs would consider to be potentially menacing, also cats. But for the last couple of years, the Robovacs have been quietly mapping homes to maximize efficiency. That's the reason I was never a newscaster. Now, the device makers plan to sell the data to smart home device manufacturers, turning the friendly robot into a creepy little spy. Okay, well, my whole thing is that my Roomba makes a map of my house. How does it send it?
Well, that's what I was getting ready to ask you. How are these things connected to the internet?
I have no idea.
Are they?
Well, mine's old, so mine are old. Some of them have Bluetooth.
Yeah, but Bluetooth to what? I mean, is it going to connect to your router somehow? And then,
I don't know. Because I know some have remote controls as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of weird. That kind of leads into the whole Alexa argument. I have a real problem with these things. I'm not ever going to have any of this stuff in my house, especially something like Alexa. There's already been court cases where the law enforcement has subpoenaed Alexa records.
They have, and they didn't. And Amazon did not give them up, as my understanding.
No, they did not. They fought both of them. Now the case that I'm familiar with is still pending. But I have a real problem with tracking, recording, or any of that stuff. Even if it's for convenience sake. I mean, I don't even have Find My iPhone turned on because yeah, that would be handy if you lost your iPhone or got stolen. But I don't want potentially somebody, i.e., the government, to be able to figure out where I'm at.
Mine's turned on because I lose my in my house all the time.
And then the other story that you don't have on your thing is there's this company in Wisconsin that is letting all their employees get a chip implanted.
I saw that. We should find that story and actually add it to the show notes.
Yeah, I shared it on my Facebook. You can get it from there. Well, that was a pretty condensed version of it, though. You can find a better version than that. But that this chip, it's a really cool idea. It's basically
Scary idea.
well, it's scary from a couple standpoints. If you're really religious, it's super scary. But just from other standpoints, it's kind of scary. But the cool thing, what they're using it for, is a souped up biometric scan. So that when you walk up to the building, all you got to do is hold your hand up to the door, and it reads the chip and lets you go in. And then when you sit down at your computer, instead of scanning your fingerprint, you put this thing close to the reader, and it I guess it works by Bluetooth, and it reads the chip and then starts let your computer come on, just like your car sensing that you have your keys in your pocket.
Mark of the beast.
But that's what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah.
But this doesn't have they say this one doesn't have a tracking component. And
Well, my question is, what if you go to another company?
right, you're going to have to get it cut out.
I mean, I have Facebook friends who actually she put a magnet in her hand as sort of an experiment. I guess to see,
Right.
Now, people are using implantable devices. They have been for a long time. There's this whole biohacking movement out there. And it's interesting. We've been putting chips in pets for a long time in case they get lost.
Right.
But putting them in humans is a little creepy.
Well, but
it raises a lot of questions about privacy.
I mean, the chip in your pets, it's not like you can log onto the satellite and see where your cat is, but if your cat gets found, they can scan your cat and see whose it is.
Right.
You just
But you can do the same thing to humans, though, right?
Just think about the advantage of having a chip in your arm that had all your medical records on it. And so you're in a car wreck, you're unconscious. The medic walks up to you, lifts your arm up, scans your chip, and he knows what drugs you're on, that you've got, what allergies that you have, and he knows who you are so that they can call your family.
That's very handy.
How cool would that be?
But it's also a big privacy problem.
On the other hand, do you really want that? It's the same thing as back to your circle back around to your Roomba thing. Yeah, it would be kind of cool to have. I don't know, smart home stuff. I guess it would be kind of cool to have.
Do you have any smart home stuff now?
No, I don't have real internet in my house. That's why I'm doing the show from my office.
Yeah, I do lights and I have sensors, like motion sensors, but I don't put anything critical on it because I know that, to me, it's just, I don't know, it's not worth it.
You don't want to be able to log into your refrigerator from Walmart and see if you really have milk or not?
I know we don't, so it doesn't matter anyway. It's very rare we have food in this house. This is a week we do. I've spent the last 2 hours cooking before the show. I've already drank about a half a bottle of wine, so I told Matt this would be an interesting show. I don't have there was a deal on Amazon Dot. It was like the last thing I want in my house is a cloud-enabled microphone.
Exactly.
But, the question is, how much is your iPhone listening to you?
Well,
how much is your computer listening to you?
You're right about your iPhone. There was a reason why when those reporters from the BBC went to interview Snowden, they made them put their phones in the refrigerator. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't do
here's the
that just
thing.
for fun.
This is, people can call me fat if they want to. And I say wants to listen to me, that's fine. I don't really have a problem with that. But when advertisers push ads at me because of the context of my conversations, that's creepier than hell to me.
It is creepy, and I mean, Facebook's gotten really creepy about that. I mean, I can, and I've tested this out here at the office. I'll have Facebook up in one browser, and I'll be searching for something in another browser. I mean, like I have Facebook up in Chrome, and I'll have Firefox open on the other screen searching for something, and then after refreshing Facebook a couple times, I'll get an ad for what I was searching for from the other browser. I mean, so how are they doing that? Well, they've got a cookie on here
Yeah.
that's paying attention to everything. That's how they're doing it. That's crazy and creepy.
It is very creepy. So Benny just posted, Benny Carnes, who's president of 3 to 4 Geeks, has posted that Hack 5 is sponsoring the CTF, excuse me. CTF this year with cool prizes. So they sent us a Pineapple Nano, USB rubber ducky, and lanternal. So
cool. Let me ask you a question about the rubber ducky.
Okay.
Because this circles back around to our pen test. Now, you tried to get yours to work.
Oh, it would have worked. It did work.
Well, but no, now wait a minute. Okay. Now, we all saw Jason Street on the National Geographic show go up to a computer, plug the rubber ducky in, and it immediately popped up this little window and typed a gajillion commands real quick and then closed, right? Well, when you plug that into my computer, it came up and said, installing drivers for USB keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it not do that every time you plug it in on every computer?
It sees it as a USB device.
Right.
So if it already has the drivers or
I
generic grabbers, I don't know.
I already had a USB keyboard. I mean,
that's a good question. I don't know. You'd have to ask Darren Kitchen.
I mean,
the other thing is that Jason, I don't think he uses payloads. We were having this discussion the other day on Twitter. I think he uses Hello World just as a point of concept. In the same way, in your case, the idea was you plugged it in, it popped up and said, it looks like you better call Matt.
Right.
Right. I mean, there's no actual payload on it, but that's a good question. I don't know. It's kind of a pain in the ass.
But still, to me,
I'll plug it to mine right now.
It reduces its effectiveness if when you plug it in, it pops up and it says install keyboard drivers.
I mean, the USB rubber duck's kind of an older device. If I were really going to be malicious, I'd use something like a Bash Buddy or Land Turtle, which are different things. The other thing is that if I really wanted to be malicious, I would probably use set and do a payload that way. That's plugged into mine. It doesn't even see it. But it's a Windows payload, so that's probably the reason.
Yeah, you're on your Mac, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a Windows machine for testing. That's test payloads with. But I don't know. I never used a USB rubber ducky for an actual pen test. Yours is the closest I ever came.
I see.
I mean, we need to get Jason Street on here and ask him.
He would be the one that would know.
That is weird. You know what it just typed?
What?
It typed into my comment on somebody else's comment on the status update done speaking at DerbyCon. It typed the word notepad.
Well, that's just where your cursor happened to be, probably.
Yeah. That's just freaky as hell. I'm like, I didn't type that, and I just realized the USB rubber duck typed it.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to run Notepad, which you don't have on a Mac, I'm assuming.
Yep, that's because what it does is it opens up Notepad and then types in. You better call Matt, or it looks like you need to call Matt. I don't know. There's all kinds of interesting tools out there. There's a lot of toys out there. I mean, that's like the Wi-Fi Pineapple. It's kind of fun to teach with.
Mhm.
It's fun for research, but I don't know that I'd ever use it in a pen test. The other thing is it's really hard to get wireless networks in the scope, and it does way more than you probably need. That you can't, there's other ways of skinning the cat. There's 1,000 different ways to fix
Right.
the same problem.
Well,
So,
at the end of the day, I mean, it's good to test all this stuff, but at the end of the day, like you said, Tuesday, 98% of your incidents are going to be from social engineering.
yeah, this is
You
very
know,
true.
somebody's going to spearfish you, and they're going to send some nasty email that looks like something that you would want, and you're going to
Hey,
put.
look at these pictures I found of you.
Yeah, I don't think that'll work here. We'll have to figure out something good for here, but those are the things that I worry about.
Oh, goodness gracious. Um, I think that's all I have.
Okay.
I'm looking at all the posts from DEF CON, Black Hat. My kids, we got about 3 students, probably more, 4 or 5 actually. I've got 3 students who keep sending me updates on
Well,
Snapchat.
they
Snapchat.
they volunteering at Black Hat.
Yeah, they're volunteering at Black Hat, they're going to give, which means they get free passes to DEF CON.
Oh, that's cool.
And they get their hotel picked up and stuff. And actually, they get paid because they're in a program where it's like an internship. But they work. I mean, they working pretty hard. I mean, it's not like they're out there, laying in the shade drinking
They're not like
mixed
hanging out
drinks.
drinking margaritas. They're
No,
actually doing
they're
stuff.
working. They're working hard.
Well, that's exciting.
No, it is. And it was a good opportunity for them. And I've already heard back that they've done some networking and got some job leads in one case at least. So.
That's good. You know, my boss was in my office today, and he was. We were looking at some stuff about a case, and he was looking at my challenge coin from where I won the social engineering contest
Yeah.
at DerbyCon, and he picked it up and he was like, "What was it? What was this?" And so I had to tell him the story about me winning the contest, and he was like, "Well, I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me about that?" I thought, well, I don't know. I thought that I did, but I guess I didn't. But yeah, I didn't know that. It was just kind of funny that he was looking at my challenge coins and asking about them. It's just a not typical boss move. But
Well, he reminds me a lot of the guy I first worked for in law firms. He reminds me a lot of Jim, in many ways, and they're about the same age. So I don't know. I guess when you get focused on the practice of law, you really don't notice other things, just peripheral things, until
right.
like, oh, well, wait, I didn't know this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Matt, thanks for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime you want to come on.
All right.
You're more than welcome. Thanks. This is kind of a weird week. Everyone's out in Vegas, except for us.
Except for us. Yay.
So remember, CFP is open for SecureWV HackerCon until I believe September 1st. Is that right?
I thank you.
And we still need some sponsors. We've got some sponsors, but we need more. What else? Room block is open. SecureWV.com is the website.
Get your tickets now.
Yeah, get your tickets now, too. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week
Thanks.
with another exciting episode of Reboot It.